As you know, in my previous video about Garrosh Hellscream, I mentioned that I was going to do a comparison between the Krom'gar bombing and the bombing of theramore and how they are pretty completely different, except for two facts that, of course, they were both bombs, and the other being that they were both rather cowardly. I will agree on this fact. The bombing of theramore was pretty cowardly, I would have to say, instead of facing them head on. But that doesn't excuse the fact that they were still very different. Because I know a lot of people say, hey, why the fuck? I even said this when I didn't know my facts of why the fuck he would bomb, why he would be pissed when Krom'gar bombed the Druid city and then do the same thing to theramore. I was even this ignorant when I didn't know the exact facts before I even read Tides of War, which, I mean, now I will say anything beyond this point could relatively be spoilers if you did not read Tides of War by Christy Golden. I don't know, because this is mainly from that book, since the scenarios we got in the actual game were absolute shit, and we only got tidbits of what actually happened, and when I mean tidbits, I mean the bare fucking minimum. It's ridiculous. Especially when Christy Golden goes out of her way and even mentions us in the damn book, when the developers can't even mention the whole damn story. And so I'm not really referencing the World of Warcraft scenario involving Theramore's fall. It's mainly from Tides of War, so if you hate spoilers and you would rather read the book or whatnot, I suggest you get out of here, because I am going to be talking a lot about this particular book in specifics here. Because, yeah. So, theramore was different from the Krom'gar bombing because Garrosh got pissed at Krom'gar for destroying the Druid city, not only because it was neutral, you know, it had no military gain, there was no reason to take it at all, and not only that, but it also consists of Tauren, you know, future Tauren druids that would more than likely join the Horde, and as I already said in my previous video, Garrosh respects the Tauren more than any other race besides his own Orcish race. And that is a simple fact, so it's understandable for why he would be pissed off at this, for not only it being neutral, but also having to do with Tauren being murdered in this scenario. Now when we compare that to theramore was a alliance city through and through. And I know people will say, Garrosh is fucking stupid. He freaking destroyed Alliance City and made Jaina mad because she was trying to be neutral. Yeah, I get that. Jaina is one of the most neutral people you ever see. But as you saw in my, Culling of Stratholme video, I'm not particularly fond with Jaina, especially after she gave Arthas the middle finger after not really thinking shit through. But I'm still not really biased against her, because she is trying to have peace. You know, she's trying her hardest, as we saw when she tried to gather Thrall and Garrosh, when Thrall was actually war chief, and Varian in theramore to have a peace treaty meeting, and only for it to get absolutely fucked up by the Twilight's Hammer. You know, she's trying, and of course this event just screws everything up, and she just says, fuck it, join the alliance, and just does that. So, theramore, like I said, is an alliance city. It is one of the only alliance cities that is a port town to Stormwind. One of the only ports to Stormwind, so you have to think about this. The Druid city that Krom'gar bombed was not a military gain for blowing up. But theramore? Hell fucking yes, it was a military gain. Since Horde destroyed this, Alliance forces have been cut by a lot for the Commodore forces. And I'm not talking about, the in-game, takes 2 seconds to flight somewhere thing. I'm talking about, actual warfare shit, as you all probably should know. I'm just blabbing. But anyways, it was a military gain. And Garrosh was hoping that Jaina would have been caught in the blast so he didn't have to deal with her. But unfortunately, which I'll explain later, she got saved somehow, which, like I said, I'll explain later. But not only was this not, bad in any way except, the cowardliness of the bombing, it was a military gain for destroying theramore. As I've said many times, I should probably stop repeating myself. But anyways, that was pretty much to people who think that he was stupid for bombing it. But then, it gets more ingenious of Garrosh. Now see, Garrosh first went after Northwatch Hold, which Northwatch Hold was also being supplied by theramore, and he was ingenious because he did 2 things. Technically 3 things, one that I don't think he really knew about, but 2 things that made this plan even more ingenious. The first thing, he sent a ship just beyond the waters of theramore, just so the Alliance could peek. The Alliance, or Jaina, whatever, could peek, seeing that there was a horde presence there, that there might be warfare, and just so Jaina could prepare for a battle. And the other thing, during the battle for Northwatch Hold, it is believed that he purposely let a scout or a survivor rush to theramore so that they can warn him about the coming onslaught of the horde forces. And see, the third thing, which I don't know if I'm really counting this, but it still helped Garrosh immensely, is when Bane unknowingly, trying to help Jaina because of her kindness to him when his father died, sent a scout just so she could know what happened and what's going on, that there's a horde forces attacking her. He sent a scout to do this, without Garrosh knowledges, of course, because Bane's only doing what Garrosh saying. He disagrees with him, but he's doing this for the safety of his own people. But anyways, see, why these 3 things are important is because what Jaina does is she gathers a fuck ton of forces, because she knew about it ahead of time, so she gathered important commanders, she gathered this, and she also, see, this is when people saying, oh, a lot of innocents died in theramore, which I call bullshit, although Garrosh may not have known, but many innocents were not, in fact, murdered in theramore. In fact, many of them high-ditched it out of there because they knew that there was going to be a war coming. So Stormwind sent a ship to take out all the innocents, all the children, women, and those who wanted to leave and not be involved with the war. There were some people who were too connected to theramore to leave, but those were only a few people, along with the warriors, commanders, and whatnot. Jaina even had got the help from Dalaran, and this is before the whole Sunreaver mishap, which I'll explain possibly later. And he got the help from Dalaran. Even Atheus, who was supposedly part of the Sunreavers, he is part of the Sunreavers, which is the Blood Elf part of Dalaran. He actually agreed to help Jaina because he thought that theramore was an important city as well. He did, however, not think that the person he sent as a representative of the Sunreavers would in fact betray theramore. Now see, this is where the actual scenario in the game actually gets something somewhat right. you know, they have us Horde actually rescue this betrayer, though they don't never explain at all why we're rescuing this guy. In fact, before I read the book at all, I just thought this guy got captured and we were just saving him before the freaking town went boom. I didn't know he was a betrayer. I might not even have done the scenario if I even thought about this, because that's douchey. But anyways, she got help with a lot of people, even the help of Ronan, the current leader of Dalaran, and the help of the dragon Kalecgos, which Kalecgos was doing something interesting at the time for his aspect's most prized jewel, what's it called? The focusing iris gone missing, and he was searching forever through it. And as you guessed, the focusing iris was the exact mana bomb that Garrosh used to implode Theramore. Now, if you connect the dots on everything, all these men, all these important people in one area, because of Garrosh planning to send in that survivor, send in that ship, so that Theramore could be prepared for this ultimate battle. And during this, he had all of his Horde forces wait for 3 days. You know, wait, because, you know, all of them were eager to battle. None of them knew what was really going on. And eager to battle until they saw a goblin zeppelin carrying this giant-ass orb that was barreling through the sky. And this is when Kalecgos, who was helping the Alliance in Theramore, you know, defend by killing some orcs and whatnot, and he first saw the big bomb and realized that this was the focusing iris, the big charge of mana power that used to be key to Malygos's, you know, power. And he rushed to warn Jaina about this so that everybody there could escape. But as he got there, it was almost literally too late. And Jaina wanted to stay in her city, and she wanted to die in her city. But sadly, the mage Ronan pushed Jaina into a portal to bring her to safety, and Ronan sucked in the mana bomb himself. And he sacrificed himself to, you know, take the impact mainly to himself, but the mana bomb still imploded all over the Theramore, and it destroyed all those men, all those commanders, and a big chunk of Alliance forces. So, think about it. Garrosh just annihilated most of the Alliance's forces, commanders, important people, and even some magi in this one bombing. It was cowardly, like I've already said, but not only was this a huge military gain, it was a huge military gain. Like, I can't say how it was huge. And people say it was god darn stupid of him to do this, yet if you actually read the books and think about it, he was fucking a genius. He planned this out. He conquered Northwatch Hold. He waited it out. He was able to snatch the focusing iris from the blue dragonflight, and use it against the Alliance by destroying Theramore and killing multiple Alliance commanders that were important or high-ranked, and multiple armies of the Alliance that were waiting for the battle for Theramore. Garrosh, people think Garrosh is stupid, and this just proves that he's in fact a genius. Now, granted, I was really pissed of this because one of the characters in the particular book, Kindy, the little gnome apprentice of Jaina, was murdered during this attack. And although I don't really have a fond love for gnomes, this one in particular, I don't know. I grew attached to while reading, and you know, her quirkiness, her parents even, you know, how happy they were, how, you know, in, insanely interesting they were, you know, and just to see her die in Jaina's arms even, going into dust, because, you know, once the mana bomb leaves a residue that will turn people into dust and whatnot. That was a literally depressing, one of the most depressing moments I've ever read a WoW book. I'll tell you. You know, especially when she went to her parents and how the parents reacted in a way that it was alright. Kindy was a... I don't know, I can't even think right now. I'm getting emotional. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is, Krom'gar bombing, super fucking different than theramore. Theramore was planned, calculated, military gain, and was overall a good thing. Krom'gar bombing? Retarded, useless, and overall a waste of ammunition, and a waste of possible horde recruits, and, you know, bombing a neutral city. So, thank you everybody. This is the reason why Garrosh did this action. This is the reason why he was pissed at Krom'gar's action and not Theramore's. And thank you for watching, and I hope you liked the video, and I will see you later. Goodbye, peoples.